you think about in the history of WGI and drums in a gym in general, pretty much everything's been done. So the innovation comes from not really finding necessarily a super new idea, but a really new way to do it. You know, something that's unique may not be something that's super original, but just a fresh take on a topic we've seen before. So those fresh takes are what kind of the innovation comes from nowadays. And I mean, every once in a while you'll get something that's super innovative and out of the box, but the real creativity sometimes comes from looking at something that people understand and people know in a totally new way. A lot of times there will be an idea that sounds really good or looks really good on paper. More often than not, that idea may not be actually physically possible. So we have to think about what can our students achieve, what can our ensemble achieve, what's realistic, what's effective. You know, some of these shows that we do nowadays wouldn't even be effective 10 years ago because they're doing things that people wouldn't appreciate. But being aware of the styles and how they shift and kind of the level of demand you're putting on your students is a huge piece of that. Drums in a gym is not a solo routine. You don't have a solo performer doing any of this stuff. So even the performance itself is a collaboration. It's an act of teamwork, and the design process is no different, especially for us. One person on the team might have an idea for a moment or an emotion or a look or a sound, and it can come from anywhere, but it's up to the team to really make that come to life. And the hard part is allowing it to change, allowing it to evolve into something totally new. And sometimes the show you end up with at the end is nothing like what you imagined originally, but it usually is better. So last year was a pretty remarkable year for us. It was our second year in Dayton. Didn't expect to make as big of a splash as we did. We kind of had this sort of 5-year plan in the back of our head. You know, we want to be up in the upper ranks of open class in 5 years. And our second year in Dayton, we ended up getting a silver medal and our second fan favorite in a row. That has an interesting effect on us as a design team because we have to think about where do we want to go from here. We're so new. It would be very easy to repeat what we've done, and kind of put ourselves in a box, and some people call that an identity, but I would call that extremely limiting. There's way more pressure now that I didn't expect. I mean, 2 years ago we were nobody. Nobody knew who Rise Percussion was, just this nobody group from Colorado, and all of a sudden I'm getting questions from groups from out of the country and students that are trying to audition from all over, and it's amazing, but it also means the pressure's really on the design team. So we take that to heart and we try to give the best product we can every single season. This year is no exception. So this year, as compared to last year we started with really just an effect. We wanted to see a ton of people on the floor, and there was this whole idea of duality about this inner demon and kind of how people struggle with those demons. And from that, the music kind of came from there. And interestingly enough, the judges liked the music about our show so much last year. We got so many compliments about the music and the sound, and not so many compliments about the visual, even though that was where we started. So we started in a totally different place this year. We had the sound and the vibe in mind, and we have something totally fresh that we just know we want to do. So we mapped out all of the music first, which is backwards from what we usually do. We usually start with like an emotion or a vibe or a sound or a visual. This, we started with the music, and we have the whole sound, the soundtrack for the whole thing, and from there, the character development and the story arc all sort of come to life naturally and organically. It's a pretty different design process for us, but it's our 6th year existing, so I figured we could try something new. I'm really excited to see what happens. It always ends up a different show at the end of the season than when we start. But I think we're better off now than we ever have been as far as just the groundwork for the show.